Hello and welcome to Chronically Cozy Business Chats. I'm Randy, your cozy business bestie. I'm a low energy business and content strategist, writer, and the founder of the Chronically Cozy Creators Club and Business Directory. I'm here to help you build a business that actually respects your energy limits. This podcast is a cozy space to talk about what it looks like to do business differently through honest chats with other chronically ill and neurodivergent entrepreneurs who are already out there doing the thing, and some solo episodes with yours truly, where I share lessons from my 9+ years in building a business with chronic illness and ADHD. So make sure your coffee is hot, get cozy, and let's chat. Hello, welcome, Stacy. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much for having me. I honestly your community, I think is so important and it has been such a joy to follow. And I'm truly so honored to be here.
You're gonna make me blush. I am just freaking loving this community lately and starting the club and this podcast and everything. It has been just the greatest thing. I love connecting with other Spoonies out here doing the thing because we're all feeling that loneliness and that need for community and connection. And so this has been, yeah, I've heard that a couple times. People are like, oh my God, I'm so glad to connect. And I'm like, thank you. I created the club because I needed more friends.
Yes.
It was all because I was lonely, really. But isn't it so great to see everyone coming together and supporting each other? And if we're not going to support each other, we're never going to survive this.
Yeah.
Capitalism is
100%.
hard. We need to do capitalism together.
Capitalism can be a group sport.
It can be. And I think for people like us doing the things with low energy, it needs to be. It needs to be a community thing. So I'm so glad you're here. How long have you been running your business?
I started my business back in 2020, which I kind of feel like a lot of Spoonies kind of had that awakening when COVID kind of hit of oh, I can't do the things that I once, was able to do, or I don't want to. And I'm so tired of fighting against that status quo. So for me, it started in 2020. And yeah, entering into my 6th year of business sounds absolutely crazy. I feel like time is flying.
Right?
Back in 2020, when I started, I was like, oh my gosh, where am I going to be in 10 years? Is this even worth doing? And here we are, starting year 6. I'm like, 10 is going to be here before we know it.
That's so exciting. I know it's so crazy. Time seems to fly lately, and I don't know if it's an age thing anymore, or if it's just there's so much happening in the world that it's never boring.
True. I could do with a little more boring, quite honestly.
Can 2026 be the year of boring,
Yeah.
please?
Let's slow it down. We all need a little bit of
This needs to
slow.
be no one's year. This needs to
Mhm.
be just be chill. Just be chill.
Yes.
It would
Agreed.
be nice. Yeah, and I've had a couple people come on and say the same thing. They started right around 2020 because they couldn't do what they were doing. And I think for a lot of us, I don't know, are you neurodivergent as well?
100%.
Yeah,
Yes.
because most of us are, right?
Mhm.
Somehow it just made sense for chronically ill and neurodivergent people to be lumped in together because so many of us are both. And so many of us got that space suddenly and just found ourselves. I did. As soon as I didn't have to be part of everything, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually just love this. Could everybody leave me alone all the time? Could it always be the rule that everybody has to stay 6 feet away from me? That would be fabulous. I would love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yes. It's so funny you talk about neurodivergence because I actually had a call with one of my functional medical providers yesterday, and she was asking me about my symptoms, and I was like, yeah, it's and I was like, do you know what I mean? She was like, I do. I do know. I'm like, okay, good.
Does that make sense to us? But you say that to a
Huh?
neurotypical, they're gonna be like, "What?
What do you
You're
mean? Can
so
you
weird."
elaborate on that? And I'm like, I can't. It's just a
It's a feeling. It's just a feeling, and it's just allowed, and yeah, and
Mhm.
it's crazy how, like, so many of us, I mean, like, they're so connected, and I'm mobile, which is, like, directly correlated with being neurodivergent as well, and that's, like, I mean, kinda crazy to begin with, but there's so many of us dealing with both, and it's a freaking struggle
Mm.
and
I
affects
think,
us in so many
it
ways.
is it is really crazy to think of, like, all of the conditions that Spoonies have and how connected they are
Yes.
starting to be. Well, we all know that they're very connected, but now the scientific community is like, "Oh, uh-oh." We're all over here, like, just collecting diagnoses, like a bingo card. It's like, of course, this is all connected together. I have Hashimoto's, endometriosis. I'm on, um, the path to maybe getting, an Ehlers-Danlos diagnosis as well, psoriasis, MCAS, POTS. I'm not, quite POTS, MCAS, but, like, all of that is so connected. And it's just wild that it's, like, finally coming to the forefront of, "We're not crazy. This is all connected."
Oh my gosh, the amount of times I've had to say, like, since I started getting my diagnosis, which took so long, like, I spent so many years being like, "Am I crazy? Maybe I am. Like, I don't know. Everybody else seems to think I'm crazy." And now being able to say, like, "Yo, I am not. This is actually like a thing. My brain just like, this is the way it works, and my body, this is just the way it works or doesn't work."
Mhm.
Um, saying we're just complicated.
And I don't know about you, Rainey, but I feel like, especially moving into, this age of Aquarius that we're moving into, after 2020, when so many Spoonies kind of had that awakening of wanting to be entrepreneurs, I really do feel like the future is in our hands because we're the ones who can see farther down those timelines. We can make those connections, connect the dots. And I think that's just really cool to be in this community where so many entrepreneurs are stepping into their power of after decades and decades of being told you're crazy or being told to be a successful entrepreneur means working 80 hours a week and burning out and busting your butt and becoming sicker, it's like finally we're like, oh no, we can
Yeah.
take a breath. We're the ones who are here to be the guides for the next coming decades because we're sick. I feel like what was is what helped create the chronic illness, and so now we're like, "Well, I'm done with this, like, let's take this and use it in a forward motion way to help other chronically ill entrepreneurs or even just shape the landscape of what entrepreneurship is."
Yeah, so much. And like I have high hopes for the next generation that A, they're not going to be as sick as us because they're gonna have like regulated nervous systems and they're gonna understand what these things mean. And they're also just gonna have a space to just be themselves and not have to wear that mask anymore because we're gonna have opened up so much for them. Like, it's
Mhm.
taking, like, universal design and universal accessibility to a whole new level. Like, we're just gonna change the way we do business, and I love it. I love seeing it. Like, I have such high hopes, like, please diagnose us all. Like, I want us all to have diagnoses and get it all going because, like,
Mhm.
I mean, whether you're neurodivergent, neurotypical, whatever, we all do think a little differently. We all function differently, and the fact that, like, that alone hasn't been the norm, like the accepted norm, and, like, the understanding is that we were all gonna function on the same level. How did we ever think that that was gonna be okay? Like, what was our previous generations even doing that they thought that made sense?
Mhm.
I'd like to ask some of them, but they don't seem to understand that it was a thing.
No, nor do they want to.
Nor do
Nor
they want
do they
so,
want to have those
I've
conversations.
I've often talked to some, what I call the adultier adults. I'm not a real adult, they're the adultier adults.
Mhm.
And like, yeah, they just like, I'm like, well, why wouldn't you want, more understanding about mental health and how your brain functions at work? And they're like, oh, well, your mental health doesn't matter. No, of course not. I mean, like, that's why you're entirely burnt out and depressed and hating your life, but, like, cool, yeah, it probably doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And that just goes to show that, like, you can't fix everyone, you can't help everyone. Like, you have to want to have these conversations and to find these different avenues. And I think that the current generation of Spoonies are willing to do that. We want to do that and set up systems for the future that work better, that are more accessible, that are, less able bodied, and that we can include everyone.
Which is, like, everything I'm building the whole chronically cozy community around. I just want everybody to be able to do their things at rate that works for them, and none of the systems are working for us right now, like, there's just none of them, so we're doing the thing, we're out here helping the people, you're also working with Spoonies, helping them do the thing, so tell me about what you do as a Spoonie CEO advisor.
Yes, I would absolutely love to. So, for those of you who don't know me, who aren't familiar, my name is Stacy Keele, also known as the Spoonie CEO Advisor, also a human design mystic mentor. And I help Spooниepreneurs with chronic conditions reclaim their rest and their rhythm and their revenue using human design, helping them build body led businesses their way. Human design is a map of your energetic DNA rooted in ancient wisdom and science. So it's this cool crossroads of science and woo that really helps us kind of take off those masks with confidence so we can start showing up as we are energetically and not, start building the businesses and the lives that we want to be living and building, not the ones we think we should. Or, like that boomer generation, have taught and conditioned us to think there's only one to do and to build.
Yes, I love it. I don't know a lot about human design, so I'm super excited about this. When I first heard about it, I've never been a big fan of like personality tests, and that was what it was kind of like described to me as was just like a personality test. And I was like, all right, it's like another one of those tests that tells you like who you are and your traits. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I know that. It's fine.
Mhm.
I can't remember now what it was. What was it that I was? What are the different the human
There's there's reflectors, manifestors, projectors, generators, and manifesting generators.
It was a manifesting generator. I'm the one who
Yay.
likes to, like, have all the ideas
Do all the
and
things.
come up with
Mhm.
all of the things, and then, like, the follow through was the struggle for me, and that was
Mm,
one of the things that, like, I learned when I was, the first person I talked to about human design, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, okay, I see that," and, like, I never got as far to, like, figure out how to use that as much until, like, much later. I'm getting there now, but but so yes, tell
absolutely.
me more about human design and how you use it.
Yeah, so, well, how I came to be a human design reader is, let's, doodaloo, 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 flashback. Back in 2017, I was living in New York City, so I got my BFA in music theater originally. And after I graduated from college, I moved up to New York City, as one does, and I was busting my ass. I was working so many jobs. If anyone listening here has been to New York City or to Times Square, I worked at Ellen Stardust Diner, which is the singing diner on 51st Street. It's like a huge tourist trap, very popular. And so I ended up working there. Super fun, super fun. Met a lot of amazing people. But working there, I was like running myself into the ground. And I was working there and I was nannying and I was auditioning and I was rehearsing. And I was literally doing all of the things and I became sick. That's how, part of my chronic illness started to manifest because
Mm.
I had no time for rest. I had no time for intention or mindfulness. It was go to the auditions, book the gig. If not, go to a job to make money to support yourself. There was no time for creativity or, you know, um, for again, like building a life that I actually wanted to be living. And so within all of that, I got my life coaching cert in 2017. I got that in neurolinguistic programming and strategic intervention. And after I got that certification, I had no idea what to do with it. I had no idea how to build a business. I was like, I don't know, I'm too busy with this. I just like to accrue lots of knowledge. And I was like, maybe I'll use it someday. Maybe I won't. Who knows? Then, fast forward to about 2019 is when I really started to become symptomatic. And this was with my thyroid autoimmune diagnosis. And I was working in New York. I couldn't walk like 4 blocks without having to sit down and rest. And I was like, okay, this is not right. Like, this is not good. Saw, of course, like we all do, a handful of doctors who were all like, I don't know, try this, try that. We can't help you.
Have
One
you considered it
PCP,
might be anxiety?
right. Literally, one PCP was like, have you tried to lose weight? And I looked at her and I said, ma'am, I am a 30-year-old woman living in the United States. You don't think that I haven't tried to shrink my body 1,000,000 times? Hello? Literally started sobbing in that appointment. I laugh at it now, but she, like, sidestepped out the door like a cartoon. She was like, "Sorry," sobbing, also laughing because this is
Gosh.
absolutely absurd.
Yeah.
Anywho, eventually got my Hashimoto's diagnosis. 2020 hit, right? Moved back down to Austin, which is where I am currently, where I grew up with my family. And my now husband and I came down here. And within all of that, I was having a really big uptick in my pelvic pain. And so 2019, I got Hashimoto's diagnosis. 2020, I got my endometriosis diagnosis with my first surgery. And within all of that, I did a virtual retreat for endometriosis. And within that retreat, someone mentioned human design. And they were like, we're going to do a touch of human design. And at that point, I was like, I have no idea what this is. I have no idea why we're learning it. But once I did one Google search on it, I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be marrying this energetics, this modality of human design, which is a map of your energetic DNA, with nervous system regulation and neurolinguistic programming. And from there, I, kept getting more Spoonie diagnoses. But once I learned that I'm a projector in human design, I could look back and say, oh, I was operating in New York City as a generator. Generators are the ones who have this beautiful sacral energy, who can go, 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 create, build. The more they lean into the things they love, the more energy they create for themselves. Not me. That's not my energy type. Projectors are here to be the guides. We're here to help make other people's energy more efficient. And so it all just started clicking. And I was like, oh, if I can help other entrepreneurs understand their own energetic dynamics, I can really help them not burn out, not hate their lives, not continue getting sicker and broker and more miserable. And so that's kind of how my business came to be, by
Yes, I love
marrying
that.
all of these different things and understanding through my own trial and error of just how important learning your human design can be when it comes to building a business.
That's awesome. I love that. And like, and I was just like, I'm currently working on a workshop right now. And I was like, it's so important to talk about like the mindset side of it as well as like the systems because like I can tell you how to build a business like, for just anyone. Like I can give you the basics of business. But like you have to know like that mindset shift. You have to be in that right state of mind where you're not comparing yourself, you're not hustling, you're not pushing yourself beyond your limits. You have to know like, the difference between consistency and constantly, like, there's so many things to it that protect us while we're building our business when the systems aren't designed to meet our exact needs.
Yeah. And a big part of human design is that deconditioning aspect, right? It's looking and
Mm,
saying, what have I been taught about building a business? What have I been taught about being a human being,
yeah.
about being sick, about asking for help, right? All of these different things. It just helps us take a look at our own chart and say, right, like, where are we experiencing the greatest challenge? How can we move that into wisdom? How can we be more compassionate and gentle with ourselves while still moving the needle forward in an actionable, consistent way? It's just asking, well, what does consistency mean for you and your energy type? For your illnesses, for your spoons that you have every day. What can you do when you have 1 spoon versus when you wake up and you have 8? How do you do that? Because I find so much of the time, myself included, even though I coach on this, It's like waking up when you have more energy and say, "Well, now what do I do with it?"
Right. Oh my
What
gosh, the
how do I
amount of
spend it?
times I say, "Do what I say, not what I do." Don't show up everywhere. I've got a podcast, a YouTube channel, and a blog. Like,
Right.
do whatever, but whatever. It's my style. But I can tell you what works for
100%,
it's
and
so important to to be able to listen to your body and connect with who you are and what's actually going on instead of trying to fit ourselves into all these boxes. We don't fit them.
no, none, and it's such a beautiful thing. And
It
if you're a
is.
Spoonie entrepreneur listening to this, like, please, if you take anything from this interview, take that.
Yes.
It's like, there's nothing wrong with you, there's nothing to be fixed, it's just coming home to yourself and saying, "How can I build these systems and these mindsets and these practices and rituals that really serve you instead of
Yeah.
drain you?"
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And oh my gosh, from the start of my entrepreneurship journey when I started as a personal trainer working with people who are chronically ill to now working as a business strategist with people who are chronically ill, my entire journey has been all about trying to tell people not to do it the way you've always been told to do it. And trying to fight against that status quo. And I'm like, it's hard. It's hard. Nobody wants to hear it. I spend a lot of time convincing people that they don't have to do it the way traditional advice has told them to do it. But when you function differently, you have to do things differently.
Mhm.
You have to find who you are to make it work for you.
And understanding that the way you've been doing it, that you think is the only way to do it, is really what
Yeah.
contributed to your illness in the first place.
Yes. Oh my
So it's
gosh. All of
in
us have,
order to
messed up
feel
nervous systems from trying to
Yeah,
fit into the box behind the mask and all of that.
exactly. How many of us have been taught by our parents, our community, our elders, whoever, that, like, you're more worthy of love when you're producing,
Yeah.
when you're
I mean, I'm
achieving,
still
and
trying to
then
convince my parents that that's not the real thing.
yes. When it's like, "Oh, I can just sit on the couch today because I'm not feeling well, and I'm just as worthy of clients and love and respect and money and all of that," right? And in human design, there's one energy center. So energy centers in human design, um, are like our chakras. So in traditional chakra system, there's 7. In human design, there's 9. And each chakra, right, each energy center holds a different energy. There's this tiny little triangle in human design that's called the heart and ego center. And this is about willpower and motivation and worthiness, like a tiny little triangle that holds so much energy. Usually, right, when you can have a defined or an undefined energy center. Defined means it's colored in. The colors don't matter if ever you're looking at your chart. It's just colored in. This means you can rely on it. You can tap into it. You can identify. This is what you're conditioning other people with. You're pushing it out in your aura. When it's white, this is where we take in and we magnify. Right? So, again, this is where we have the greatest challenge and the greatest wisdom. If you're an entrepreneur who's trying to figure out ways that actually work for you, starting with your undefined centers, or like, yes, please do that. This is where all those mindset changes, you know, um, really, really help nourish our trajectory. But with its undefined heart and eco center, I like to teach that as the arrow pulling back. And I think that that's a really important lesson for all chronically ill entrepreneurs is on the days where you're not feeling motivated, when you're not feeling like you have that willpower, if you rest, right? If you take that time, it's like the arrow pulling all the way back. So
Yeah.
that when energy comes back the next day, 2 days, whatever, you're gonna shoot that arrow so much farther, as opposed to trying to shoot the arrow from here with no
Yeah.
spoons. You're like, "Why am
Yeah.
I not getting anywhere?" Instead of just taking a deep breath, letting yourself relax, having that compassion and that understanding for yourself, and then when the energy comes back, we can leverage it, right? And I
Yes.
just think that so much of, the able-bodied, bro-coded marketing business strategy is like, "Just make yourself do it. Just get up and fucking do it." It's like, no. We can't do that. Not for us. It's not for us.
Especially with oh my gosh, my neurospicy brain. I am diagnosed ADHD, but fairly certain there's some tisms in there. That was one of the biggest things that I had to learn as part of everything, like just trying to not push my brain when it wasn't doing something. So like I'd, come to my desk and find that like I just couldn't focus on any one thing, like nothing felt right. I didn't want to, but I would try to push myself anyways because it was like, why can't I do this? This is dumb. Like, there's no reason for this. Realizing that there was a reason for this, and that was actually just my brain screaming for me to, like, take a little break,
Mhm.
was such a huge change for me. But, like, let's also talk for a second about, like, why we all struggle with rest. Resting is so hard for us, and, like, again, like, a healthy neurotypical person is never gonna understand this, but, like, resting is not fun, and especially when you have to do it all the time or you don't function, and we end up feeling so guilty and so ashamed of that need to rest
Yeah.
because of the way, like, society frames it, and I think
Mhm.
that, like, while it is changing and we are starting to value our mental health and self-care and all of those things like a lot more like the general population of people are, I think there's still like a real disconnect in what is rest. And I think that that's one of the things that's holding us back is that like when we're resting, we're not really resting because we're still
Yeah.
feeling stressed about it and we're still feeling shame and guilt about it. Or if you're probably like me, like with your ADHD or anything like that, still trying to do something to like, keep yourself productive, feeling productive. But it just doesn't. And I'm
Mm-mm.
really realizing lately that it's not about necessarily just doing less, but it's a lot more of that like what fills you up? What
Mhm.
actually makes you feel better? What feeds your soul? And I think that's something that, like, it sounds like, you're doing as well. Like, that's important, right?
It is. It is important. The way that we nourish ourselves, the way and nourishment, I mean, yes, food, lifestyle, but also the things we allow ourselves to do and the things we say no to, right? Like all of these things. It really does make a difference. And I tell
Yeah.
my clients this all the time of, do less, but more intentionally. We talk about productive rest, right? We talk about meditation. Different energy types are going to meditate completely differently, right? For a reflector and a projector, right? We don't have that sacral energy. Neither does the manifester. This could, probably apply to them as well. But like sitting still and being alone and having that like decompression time in traditional meditation will probably feel pretty good to us because we can slow down. We don't have that constant sacral doer energy rushing through us or wanting to create more. But for a manifesting generator or a generator, we do have that sacral energy, right? It's more active. And so I have, manifesting generator clients that are like, I can't slow down. I can't meditate. That sounds like the most horrible thing in the world. I'm like, yes, do not do that. Let's ask yourself, meditation can come through in so many different ways, right? Driving the car, right? That's a good time for meditation because we're focusing on one thing. It allows for the input. It allows for that reflection, right? Getting out in nature, going for a walk, if that feels good, if we feel up to it, that's meditation. Art, creativity, drawing, coloring, right? That's meditation. All of these things are a form of
Journaling.
that, as long as we can like reframe and be open, outcome and not attached about what all of these things mean after growing up in a society that's like, this is how you meditate. This is how you build a business. This is how you, have a kid, get married, buy a house. Like, no, let's just release those timelines. Let's release all of that and then focus in on what makes us happy, what message we're here to communicate to the collective, to other entrepreneurs, to our clients, our patients, whoever, right? Like it's so much more mission based. And I find, earlier I said, I feel like Spoonies are the new leaders, especially moving into this. I find that to be so true when it comes to looking outside the box and getting rid of all of these, really strict. boundaries, what is and what isn't. Especially for a manifesting generator, right? Like, you're not here to, get out of the box. You're here to burn that bitch. You're here to say, what box?
Yes,
I don't see any box.
I'm
I can do whatever
burning the
I want
boxes
to.
down.
Yes. And
And,
do it
like,
well.
just everything, like, all of these systems that have been previously set up, like, I'm just oh my gosh, the patterns, I'm noticing them so much more these days, especially, like, as I learn, like, why I'm noticing them. But just, like, seeing the different things, like, like you talked about, like, that life cycle of, like, get married, have kids, like, I am child-free by choice because, like, it
Same.
just never felt
Mhm.
like it fit for me, and
Yeah.
so many people have questioned me, and I'm like, "Well, why would I if it doesn't feel like it fits?"
Until you
Like,
turn it back on them and say, well, why do you have kids? And they go, oh,
I have. Yeah.
well, I don't know. It's just what you do.
Yeah, it's just what you do. It's just like and, like, honestly, anything that comes down to like, if you tell me that you should do this because that's what you do, I am absolutely 100% gonna do the opposite.
Mhm.
Like, I do not wanna do what we've always been doing because clearly, like, let's take a look outside for a second, it's not working.
Yeah.
None of it's
Randy,
working.
are you a manifesting generator or just a pure manifester?
I'm not sure exactly. Like I said, I haven't done the full thing. I not sure which one. Maybe we'll have to, like, look into
I
that.
think we'll definitely have to look it up. But
We'll
I
have
think
to look
you're
it up.
you're a pure manifester. I don't think you're a
Yeah?
generator.
Okay. That makes sense. But yeah, no, I've always been like, I like to like I have the ideas. I have all
Mhm.
the ideas. Oh
You're
my
the
gosh, I
captain of
can't
the
stop
ship.
the ideas. And like so
Mhm.
many people are like, like, do you want more ideas? I'm like, no. I want somebody to bring these ideas to fruition for me.
Yeah. Yes, manifestors are the initiators. Manifestors are the captains of the ship. They say, I'm going this way. Who's coming with me? But because you don't have that sacral energy, that follow through can be a little more difficult. So that's where you're like, manifestors have a beautiful voice activation in their strategy, which is how we create aligned opportunities for ourselves, is to inform. So you're doing it perfectly. You say, here I am. This is what I want to build. I'm inviting all of these generators to come build it for me. And then everyone in the community is like, I'll help.
Yes.
I'll
I'm
do it.
huge right now on like one of my big strategies is trying to deprioritize social media in like the building of the everything because it's just like it's yet another system that's been designed to burn us out. Um but like also just really trying to push people to build that community side of things. Like we don't need audiences. We don't need to build an audience. I don't need 10,000 followers. I want like that community of people who really want to engage. They really want to connect with the things. They really want to
Mhm.
talk about it. And that has been like one of the shifts that I've made that has made the biggest difference is focusing on
Mm.
that community over building audience.
Mm. I love that. Yeah.
Right? I love
Mhm.
so great. And yeah, just so much of this is like I'm seeing all of these ways that we're all connecting in these different levels, and it's so inspiring. Like, I hate to, like, do that, "Oh, we're so inspiring" kinda thing, but, like, it is, it's so freaking inspiring, and not only,
I
like, are we all doing this thing, like, even despite the fact that it's hard, but, like, everyone's doing it so differently and so creatively. Like, I'm
mm,
sure because 'cause you've worked with a lot of other Spoonies and, like, probably a bunch of neurodivergent people. Oh my gosh, are they not the most creative?
love
I
them. Love
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 them
us.
so much. So I've got my, like, directory. Have you checked out my directory yet?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I love scrolling through it. I love seeing all the pictures that are added. Like, I have 17 categories in there because, like, it could not be limited to any less. And I think, like, I still kinda need more. Because, like, there's just so many different types of neurodivergent people doing so many different things. Like, you can't box us in. We're doing everything from, like, the business services like you and I to, like, I've got artists, I've got creators, I've got, people doing, like, home design stuff, just so many cool things. Love it.
It's
So
amazing. Yeah, one of the things I hate, and I'm sure everyone who's listening to this can resonate, when someone says, "You're so strong." "Oh, you're so strong." And it's like, "Thanks, I don't have a
yeah.
choice." And I think that is Yeah, it's like, and I think that that's the heart of entrepreneurs, whether you're a service provider or you have, tangible goods that you're
Yeah.
selling and creating, it's, I have no other choice. This is what I'm here to do, and this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to find ways that I can do it
Yeah.
and take care of my health as well as my wealth, because those can go hand in hand. I promise you that, right? Again, the conditioning of, well, I'm sick, so I'm just going to be poor and be a burden on society. No, no, no.
Want that. None of us are trying for that. We all want to be independent and actually making our own thing. We don't want to be at home all day and resting.
Mm-mm.
That's not
Yeah.
fun.
No, it's actually funny you you mentioned that of, and how it can hit at any time. I went down to a friend's house in down South Austin to help her kind of clean and organize her house yesterday, and I got there and I had an ocular migraine hit, and I was like looking at her and I was like, "I can't see your face." I was like,
Yeah.
I think I need to leave." And so after like the visual disturbances went away, I was like, "Yeah, yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go right now." And she was like, "Okay, right." But there's so much to that that's just acceptance, right? That's like, "Oh, I don't want this. I don't want to deal with this. I want to
Yeah.
stay here with you, and have
Yeah.
a day and a life and feel, like we're connecting and have this this day together." But I was like, "Nope." Ocular migraine said, "Not today." And so I had to come home and I puked and then I went to bed for 4 hours. I was like, "That's today."
Well, I've been there. Yep. Yeah.
But
I
it's
try to
that
explain
resilience.
I try to explain all the time to people because like what they see is me not wanting to do something. And I'm like, no, no,
Mm,
no, 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 no. I
mhm,
want to do it. The issue is I don't want to do that because it's going to make me feel shitty. I'm going to have to lose days after this. Like I want to hang out with you people. I want to do the social things. Like that sounds fun, but I also don't want to do that because it's going to ruin me for the next week. And like
mhm,
trying to explain to people that and like my husband, bless him, love him so much. He's so supportive and he always like tries to remind me like, "Well, you don't have to." And I'm like, "I know I don't have to. I've actually fully accepted that I don't have to. No one can make me do these things. However, I want to. The problem is I want to and I can't. The problem is not that I have to." And
mhm,
like, too, one of the things I was thinking as you were saying that, like so many of us are in like survival mode. And when you're
mhm,
in survival mode, you can't be creative. You can't effectively rest. You can't do all of those things. And I think like both of us, like, our goals are helping people get out of that survival mode. And so, yeah, we're not gonna cure anybody. Like, we're neither of us are gonna be able to cure your neurodivergence or chronic illness. However,
mhm,
we are gonna be able to tell you how to, accept it a little bit and move out of that survival mode and work with it. And that's huge.
mhm. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
We're all just, like, out here trying to survive and do the thing. Do the
Living related
capitalism.
capitalism. Yes.
It's
It's
so
hard when
funny,
you
like, oh
think.
my gosh, I've started using capitalism as a full verb. It is a verb now.
Mhm.
It's a thing we have to do.
Too
It's a thing
capital
I'm
on it.
forced to do, like, if I could do this for free, I would love that.
Mhm.
Though if I could just, like, not make money, I'd probably also just spend a lot of time reading,
Which is also great,
right?
you know?
So, okay, so on that, what are you doing aside from your business and everything that's filling your cup?
Great question. So I dance, as I said, that I am a music theater performer, so I got my VFA in that, and for the longest time, I kind of let dance fall to the wayside, whether it was, like, not feeling well or financial obstacles. So I've gotten back into that, specifically pole fitness, which is so fun, and it really helps me feel embodied and connected to my body, and I really love how pole helps me appreciate what my body can do, and instead of focusing on what it can't. And that's been a really big journey. I'm also an Aries sun, so, like, in a North Node in Jupiter, so, like, I have so much Aries, like, first I gotta be the best. I gotta, I gotta like make everything a competition. And that's been, growing and shedding and evolving. But polls really helped me kind of really come home to me against me, right? It's like so many people in the pole community are on that trajectory that a lot of able-bodied people are, which is like I start here and then I get better and better and better and better and better. And my experience has been, well, I had a dance background already and I got a little bit better at pole and then I had an excision surgery. And then I was back here. And then I was like, oh, and then I gained a little bit of strength and then I had another excision surgery. I got my strength back up and then I had a third and a hysterectomy. And so it's just this like push and pull of, getting really strong again and then having surgical intervention and having to heal and it's like basically start over. Yes, it's so
We're
much of
all
that like
riding, like, the worst roller coaster in the world. It is no
yes,
fun at all.
it's so jerky, it's throwing our heads around, you know?
It was one of the,
Um,
like, big mindset shifts that, like, I help people through is, like, realizing that, like, there is no train to fall off of.
mm,
You are just going along, and sometimes you're gonna take a turn this way, sometimes you're gonna
yeah,
take a turn this way. Sometimes you're gonna go in that straight line and it's gonna work out nicely.
yeah,
Sometimes you're gonna hit a you just have to
yeah,
accept that this is the thing, and, like, being flexible about your life and your goals and your plans is really the only thing that's gonna help you get through it in the end.
yeah. I've
So
even started saying when I show up to pull, I'm like, "I showed up, that's enough." Doesn't matter if I can do the trick or I can do the combo we do today, like, I showed up and I can do this part, and I take it, and I'm like, "Look at me go." Right?
yeah.
Like, that's the difference. It's me versus me against everyone, right? And that's true for entrepreneurship too. It's so easy to compare our businesses against other people's businesses. Talking about social media, what's their follower count? Oh, what are they sharing? Right? It's not. It's us against ourselves, right? It's building a purpose-led, soul mission-based practice, business, so that we're making a difference and also providing for ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all we want. We just wanna
Mhm.
do the things, provide for ourselves,
Yeah.
not have to compete anymore. I just want less competition in the world. Like, that
Mhm.
would be so wonderful.
Yeah, and I tell my clients all the time in human design, it's I get people who come to me and they say, "Can I do this?" Or "I wanna help these people. Is that a good idea?" Or, "I wanna sell this product. How can is that gonna work out?" And I'm like, "It's not what you do, it's how you do it." And that is like human design in a nutshell. It helps us understand our energetics, our patterns, our mindsets, our gifts, and how to bring those to the forefront so that we can create a little more ease in our lives instead of finally, hitting that roller coaster, as we said, that jerky movement over and over and over again. Instead of this, it might be this.
Yeah,
But it's not what we
exactly.
do, it's how we do it.
Yes, and, like, one of the things that, like, I remember when I first wanted to, like, start my podcast and start my business and everything like that, somebody asked me, they're like, "Well, would you not have other coaches on?" And I'm like, "Why would I do that?" Like, my whole point is to, like, share this information with everybody, and no coach is gonna do the things like I do them. Like,
Nobody.
you're doing things in a very different way than I'm doing things, we're still helping the same people accomplish the same-ish goals. But, like, that's the thing that makes it all beautiful is that we're all gonna do it in a different way, and some people are gonna connect
Mhm.
better with you, some people are gonna connect
Yeah,
better with me, and, like, there is no need for there to be that competition. I
not at
don't
all.
see any other, like, business strategist, coach, copywriter, whatever, as my competition because they don't
Mhm.
do things like I do.
No, and they're not you.
Yeah,
No
exactly.
one is you, no one is me. People who
Yes,
see you and they see your energy and they sense that, they're gonna be like, "Oh, yes, Randy." Right? People who see me and they're like, "Ooh, her energy. Yes, Stacy." Right?
exactly.
It's like there's no competition ever. It's who we vibe with
Hear
most.
it a lot in, like especially in, like, the content creation side of things. People are like, "Oh, well, like, everybody's already doing that." It's like, "Okay, but nobody's doing it like you're doing it."
Mhm,
Like, "Oh, everybody's written about that." Yeah, but nobody's writing about it like you're writing about it.
mhm,
That's like, you have a unique side and a unique point of view that other people are gonna connect to. And like a big part of my content strategy is that sharing of the story and sharing and making those connections because yeah, I mean like I can tell you the stats about, how great blogging is or whatever. But like you know, nobody's going to connect with it in the same way unless I like, share my story of like how I started my blog, why I did it, what I've been doing differently. Like, that's the things that set it apart. And I think that those are the things that are like really important to focus on when you're creating your business.
Yeah. And also the comparison and trying to keep up with everyone else, like that's just contributing to your symptoms,
We're all on a
you know.
different page. We don't
We're
need
all
to,
on a different page.
compare. I love
Mhm.
it. That's amazing. I think that you're right and that we are the future. I think especially those of us who are neurodivergent, maybe like I understand that those of us who are like chronically ill and low on energy, we're probably not going to do the pushing. But definitely like the different mindset and the different way of approaching things is definitely going to be the way of the future. And I can see little changes happening already.
Yeah. Yeah. I can too. It's really exciting
Yeah.
and really nice. And it's, just giving more fuel to the fire of what we're doing of, ah, yes, we can help other spooniepreneurs, create businesses that mean something, that are purposeful, that make money, that help support all at the same time, and I have a lot of clients who come find me in human design after they've done a lot of self-study. And they're like, I learned human design and I Googled a bunch of stuff and I'm confused. Like, I don't understand because so much of, like we say, pop astrology or pop human design, like, is so superficial. And it can be really easy to say, I'm a projector, they're a projector. Shouldn't we be the same? And it's like, no, because human design is such a holistic view, just like our businesses, just like our lives, right? And so it's even if you have, two splenic projectors who are doing the same thing, who are, helping entrepreneurs or what have you, you know, human design is such a holistic view that's like there's so many other things to look at that the manifestations of what you do is going to be completely different. And I think that if anyone listening to this podcast episode is like, oh, human design, that sounds so interesting, right? I just want to remind you that it's not just your type strategy authority. There's so much more to it. And again, it's not what we do, it's how we do it. So, really finding ways that work for you. So, again, you can take care of your body as well as your wallet at the same time without burning out, without comparison, without going into the deep, deep spirals that can be really easy to do.
No, I mean, like, and just there's so much advice out there that's just like put out there for everyone. And
Yes.
it's so crazy how many people will try to fit that into who they are rather than trying to mold themselves around the idea of it. Like,
Hmm.
we have to find that give and take, but we've all just been, and I mean, like, the medical industry has been like the worst for this. They're just treating everybody the same. And it's just like and that's been one of the things that's always baffled me. I'm like, how could you set standards for what, like, our tests are supposed to show or anything like that when we're all so different? Like, why would my test show up just like her tests when we have clearly, like, different bodies?
Hmm.
Could be
That's so
my
interesting, Randy. Also, I just got some genetic testing done and I got my results back and I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be the game changer. Oh my gosh." And when I opened it up, it was like nothing. I was like, "This cannot be right." And then when I looked into it, they what's the word I want to use? Organize it by high confidence to low confidence. And that just means confidence means the amount of studies compared to the gene and the condition. But in women's health and all of these rare diseases, there's no research to be done about them. So when I toggled it over to all confidence, it was like a bunch of stuff came up. And I was like, this is so frustrating just because, there are correlations to be made, but there's just not enough research and studies being done on our conditions, which is absolutely infuriating.
Yes. I did another podcast, Abiding Hysteria. She was amazing, and that's like the main focus of her podcast is talking about women's medical issues and like how we're dealing with women and trans people's medical issues and like how we're dealing with things like that. And it's just like it's so insane. Like every time I learn a new fact about how like women's health has been treated and or not treated at all, just like
most of the time.
I mean, I feel like it's like mind blown and also not surprised anymore at the same time. Like, are you kidding me? Like, you didn't even think to maybe like check on see how we work differently? Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And, like,
Yeah.
such a huge thing in ADHD right now and, like, realizing that. And, like, I mean, I've tried to tell my mom that I have ADHD, and she's like, "No, you don't." And I'm like, "Okay, but, like, just frankly, like, you don't know anything about ADHD, and also it's not your fault because the professionals didn't know anything about it until now." Like,
Mhm.
all of this information is really new, and so, like, I'm not surprised you don't know because they didn't know. How they didn't know, that is a whole other conversation.
It's, like, simultaneously the biggest eye roll and also the most, like, rage-inducing.
Right? Oh
Terrible.
my god,
It's
like,
just
and, like, the things that we all have in common, like, we've all dealt with gaslighting, we've all been told it's anxiety, we've all been told to lose weight, and, like, how are these things, like, the standards? Like, how are we all experiencing this when we're all so clearly very different?
yeah, yeah.
So
Even
crazy.
in, endometriosis world, which is, like, my biggest pain in the ass when it comes to my chronic illnesses, It's like even my functional medicine doctor was like, "Well, what stage are you?" And I'm like, "Well, they're kind of ruling out stages because the stage doesn't correlate to the pain associated with the disease, and they're just starting to correlate that." So it's like even if you're stage 4, you could not even know it and just have fertility issues, and they go and they're like, "Oh shit, you have endometriosis." Or you could have stage 1, which is like pretty superficial and be in excruciating pain. And it's like, why are we not studying that? It's like,
Why are
what?
we trying to lump it into boxes? Stop that.
Yes.
Doctors, if you're listening, we
Yeah.
have some preferences. We
We
would like you to stop doing some things.
we have some notes.
We have some I and that is how I got my ADHD diagnosis was, I went in because I had a high heart rate, was suspecting POTS now that I've been diagnosed with hypermobility. And she asked me, "Have you considered it might be anxiety?" I was like, "No." I was like, "I am so done with this." Like, it was like the 200th time I've heard, "Could it be anxiety?" And I was like, "No. You know what it is? It's a mix of ADHD, possibly autism. Also, obviously, I'm anxious. My heart rate's fucking going off the charts. And yeah, I'm probably also a little depressed too, if you want to throw that in there, because you go ahead and wake up feeling like shit every day and not feel anxious and depressed." And she was just like, "Oh, let's get you some tests."
Yes, let's do that.
Good.
That that's like a whole other thing too, is the advocating for yourself and like having to be a full-on professional of how to talk to these doctors to get what you want. Like it is
So
so
what?
absurd.
It took me 17 years from the point of I have a problem to this is the name of the problem. I could have been a doctor with a specialty by this point.
Mhm.
Like, had I had the energy. Um, and that's crazy. Like, it shouldn't take that long. And, like, also, I do understand, that doctors can't know everything. They are also just human. There's literally so many possibilities that we could be afflicted with. But if y'all could just try a little harder to not dismiss it and find out what it is instead, we'd appreciate.
I
That'd be
would
so
very much appreciate that.
Stacey, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming and talking to me. I feel like, oh my gosh, like the neurodivergent tendency of just like connecting to people, like no small talk needed, right?
No, no,
And
no.
like we're
Just
best
get into
friends
it.
now, apparently. So it's cool. Like,
Absolutely.
love it. So glad you came on this podcast with me. I'm
Me
gonna
too.
cut
Thank
us
you.
off there though, because I do feel like we could probably talk forever.
Literally hours. Yes.
Maybe we'll have you back for sure.
Please.
Please tell everyone where we can find you.
Yes, the best place to find me would be on Instagram. Hopefully, eventually somewhere else. But My handle is Stacy, Stacy underscore Keel, Keele underscore human design. You can find me there. I have some memberships going on as well. If you're interested in learning more about human design, I also offer a 90-minute energetic business audit if you're interested of how your energetic DNA can help you create these systems and make them consistent and sustainable without burning out. Just come and say hi. I'd love to meet you.
Awesome. I love it. I will make sure I drop all of the links down below so everybody can find you. Thank you again so much for coming and talking to me. Like, I love this so much. I love connecting with other people
Thank
out
you.
here doing the things, supporting other Spoonies. So if you need
Mm,
help, we're here. We're here
we're
helping
here.
you do the thing. And we just want people to have businesses that actually feel like they honor their bodies, their needs, their energies. So
Mm-hmm.
love it.
100%. It
Thank
is
you.
possible.
It is possible. I will tell you it's hard. For sure. I'm not gonna lie to you and say it's easy, but it is possible for sure.
Yeah.
And we are the proof. Thank you so much, Stacey. I love this conversation so much. Anybody who wants to check her out, please check out all those links down below and come back next week for another great conversation with another Spoonie entrepreneur. Bye, everyone.